Like and subscribe in the next 5 seconds, or this will be in your bed tonight. Students, teachers of what's the best forgot to turn off the mic story during virtual learning? Well, it happened in one of the classes. The teacher was going through a rough time and the class could feel it. We assured her that we had done our homework and that she could take rest for the time being. She agreed and told she would switch her mic off and sleep for a while. As we did whatever, her husband was right beside her and the mic wasn't turned off. She told, "I am so lucky to have these students," and started sobbing to her husband. We all heard this, but kept quiet to prevent her being embarrassed. She slept well during that time and we sent her a thank you gift collectively. This is by far the happiest post here I've seen. The stuff teacher dreams are made of. I teach for an online university that requires me to conduct a weekly live session. One morning I was lecturing and a student popped in late. I said, "Hello, student name. Thanks for joining us," she said. "Don't say my name, Beach." Just before she realized her mic was on and turned it off, I just laughed. All future interactions with her need to be prefaced with, "Yes, she who must not be named." Double quote. The unnamed heathen child. Ironically, my IT teacher forgot to turn off his mic and camera and proceeded to get in a very heated argument on the phone with his ex-girlfriend who he has a kid with. Did I mention that she's also a teacher at our school? Yeah, most awkward 5 minutes of my life before he realized. Probably also the most awkward 5 minutes of his life. Most awkward moment was when he realized he wasn't muted. Wasn't that awkward for him to do it? I was producing a video for some university professors on a specific medical thing for a virtual learning course. I was all set up to shoot the process, and the teachers excused themselves to the next office to regroup and have a chat. I already had their wireless lav mics attached and fed to my camera, so when I sat down at the camera and put on my headphones I immediately heard their conversation. They were criticizing me, saying they couldn't believe they hired someone so young, inexperienced in that particular medical field. How I looked, how I asked questions, etc. Oops, at least I made them a fine video. These days I don't put my headphones on until we're about to shoot. Oh, that's so sad. I hope you proved them wrong big time with an amazing video. I did my best. During my English class, this one girl forgot to mute herself while my teacher was talking. She almost deafened all of us on the Zoom call answering her mother's questions. Her mother, from a distance, "What class are you in?" Her, yelling, "English." Her mother, "Oh, the hot teacher? Her, yeah, that guy." Now, even I'll admit my teacher is fairly attractive, but it does take it to another level when you get your own mother involved. Thankfully, our teacher is a chill guy and thought the whole thing was just kind of funny, and kind of just gave a general reminder to the class to keep mics muted. She didn't say anything for the rest of the class. Hell, it probably made his week. Even good looking guys don't get that many compliments, so yeah. In a math class I was in last year, we were taking a test, which you have to turn your mic on for, their way of trying to prevent cheating. Some girl apparently forgot that hers was on and started belting out "Stand By You" by Rachel Platten at the top of her lungs. It went on for the entire song and she was still humming it when I finished the test and left the call. LOL, having your mic on does not stop text conversations, as far as my experience goes anyways. You could literally Google answers. Dude, my one teacher forgot to turn off his camera and his son was changing in the background and the son kept on looking at the camera. I remember a similar question where a mom answered that she was taking a Zoom call in the garden, until a co-worker mentioned that there was a naked kid skateboarding behind her. Bart Simpson. When I was doing an online algebra camp, the teacher forgot to turn off his mic while we were supposed to be doing some problems. He said, "I ducking hate math." As a math major I can confirm that the better you are at math the more you hate it. As someone extremely shitty at math, I can confirm that it goes both ways. My teacher got scolded by his wife, another teacher in a school, because she needed to work and he didn't repair her computer. He was a computer technology teacher and he just keeps saying, "Sorry honey, I forgot. I won't do it again. I promise it will take 2 seconds to fix it." In loop because the wife went on a little rant of how he always forgot things. When he saw the mic was still on he blushed and after a moment of silence just went on with the lesson. Edit. Thanks for the award. Of how he always forgot things. When he saw the mic was still on he blushed and after a moment of silence just went on with the lesson. A moment of silence for his pride. LMAO. A few years ago during one of my exams, our professor brought her husband to help distribute scantrons because it was a big lecture hall, and she was just dogging his ass out the entire time. It was really uncomfortable to watch. Girl forgot to turn off her mic and started screaming at her parents in Chinese. I wish I understood what she said. After few minutes, she gasped loudly when she realized she didn't mute it. Good thing not many people understood. It was Chinese class. OP is just failing. In a thermodynamics class, one of the students said, "Holy shit. This is so much," after covering a large set of equations related to fugacity. Everyone found it relatable. One of my professor's classes had a student say something like, "I just joined 5 minutes before class and this a-hole is already teaching." The professor just laughed and told him his mic was on. Something similar happened in my class. In Zoom you can text something for the entire class to see, or you can send something to a person individually. So, a friend of mine thought he sent me this ducking retard, can't expect us to do that exercise. It's 8 AM in the morning but he sent it to the entire class. The teacher saw it. Everything stopped for like 30 seconds and then he continued like nothing ever happened. Felt bad for the guy. In one of my classes, this girl wrote in the Zoom chat, "This is so ducking boring," not realizing that the professor could see it. How stupid do you have to be to do that? I mean, it literally says, "To everyone." Wrong window? Maybe she also had a private group chat going with friends. Not a mic but an elementary student left their camera for a moment and the mother walked by naked. Guessing she asked him to leave the room so she could change or something, not realizing the camera was left on. Edit. I just got back on I and saw the reaction. Wow, far and away my highest upvoted comment. Would not have guessed that this one would blow up. I is too thirsty. Stacy's mom has got it going on. This is why we have these threads. Face rolling on the floor laughing. I'm not a student, but work in the tech industry. I've been in meetings where people forget to mute themselves on large company calls, with hundreds or thousands of attendees, and we'll hear a fart and then a toilet flush. That's about as interesting as these meetings get though. Same. We had an update about a reorg that was supposed to be very serious because everyone's job was on the line. There were like 1 KPPL on the call and the VP couldn't get a word in because there was always someone unmuted in a room filled with babies operating a jackhammer or something. Also there was a toilet flush, which was hilarious. I don't get why at that level a moderator wouldn't think to mute all. Rookie mistake, haha. So I have one. I just did 8-hour Zoom calls for 7 weeks training for a new project. On the second week, a man unmutes his call. Farts the longest fart I've ever heard in my life. Then when he finishes, mutes the call. I can see others laughing while muted at his fatal error of thinking he wasn't muted and so he went to mute his call. I found this to be the highlight of the week. But the following week the guy does it again. Honestly, the second time I laughed but then started to wonder if it was some kind of power move. It was definitely a power move to assert dominance. Not virtual, but I was a guest speaker at a music college last year. My mic was still on when I finished. Went backstage and said, "Well, that was ducking horrible." I wasn't called back to speak again. Edit. For those curious of the aftermath, I heard it out of the speakers and an immediate uproar of laughter ensued. I would have laughed had I been a student, but as a working professional it was one of the single most awkward experiences of my life. The students probably loved it. Can confirm. I'm student. Would have loved it. I had a student give a smartass response to a question I asked, and before I could respond his mom starts chewing into him and hitting him with a chancla. His mic and video was on for the whole thing. Edit. For all those asking, I did not report the single mother who took time off from her only remaining job during a pandemic so she could make sure her sons were able to access their education. Didn't strike me as abusive. I did call her after school to talk and let her know I would keep her updated on how her son was doing in my class so that, hopefully, between the two of us, we could keep him out of trouble. Some of y'all clearly didn't grow up around Hispanic families. La chancla is part of the culture. Edit 2. Clearly hit a nerve with the last one. Abuse is not okay. I have reported and will continue to report abuse. What I witnessed was clearly not abuse. Context is important. What was the question and response? I gotta hear this. Also sorry if I'm not responding to all the comments. Edit. 4 more messages have popped up while I was writing this. Edit 5, edit 6, edit. I'll just stop and read them. Can't believe my first thread on this place is actually working well. Honestly, I can't even remember the question, but he said, "Duck this gay shit. Just a dumbass 8th grader trying to look hard on his first week of online classes." I had a student's boyfriend, both college, walk up behind her on Zoom, reach into her shirt, pull out her breasts, and start doing a little boob dance. She was just laughing and playfully slapping his hands away. This was probably 30 seconds after I had just gone through my whole speech of making sure there was nothing in your browser history, Google search history, or names of folders that could be embarrassing or offensive. They probably knew. He was establishing dominance over the rest of class. Did she know her camera was on? One time in an art class, separate from my school, my dad knocked on my door. It was dead silent at that point. Everyone was working on their projects. I clicked the mute button and yelled what? Turns out my mic was already muted and I turned it on. I startled the entire class and the teacher asked if I was okay. Edit. I know everyone hates these, but WTF, I was not expecting this to happen. And I got my first award. Thank you. My son was in a class and I thought his mic was muted. I had cut myself and walked over to gross him out and said, "Son, there's so much blood." And he responded, "You're gonna get blood on me." His class went silent and the teacher asked if he was okay. Oops, we laughed about it later. Somebody in my class forgot to turn off the mic and started singing along to a song and loudly. Somebody told her and there was this odd whoop noise and then she cut off. LOL, this happened to me once minus the mic part. When I was about 9 we used to go to painting classes during summer vacation, and one day we were painting some rocks or something and I was singing in my head and suddenly the whole class started laughing. Turned out during the loudest part of the song I sang loudly. When I was 8, I went to a hotel with my dad and in the lobby bathroom I started singing Britney Spears' Hit Me Baby One More Time. When I came out, the people in the lobby clapped while having a good laugh. I was more than a little embarrassed. During a virtual gym class for my high school, a girl forgot to mute herself during a workout and yelled some obscene things very loudly. It never occurred to me that there would be virtual gym class, but it makes sense, I guess. Also, they should allow obscenity in schools, especially in gym class, creative writing, and computer programming. Can confirm programming is a beach. I was visiting my best friend during a lecture and she had her mic and video turned off. She then had to join a group discussion and sometimes unmuted herself to contribute something. After that the whole class was supposed to present their results and she supposedly muted herself again. I started venting to her how wasps are considered wild bees even though they have no business being bees because they're a-holes, and suddenly we hear laughter from her professor and her classmates. She forgot to mute herself. LOL. If I was talking to someone who didn't notice they unmuted themselves, I would take full advantage of it, and also nonchalantly look at the camera and smile from time to time. A girl's mom. Who the duck you on the computer for this early in the morning? And asking the same thing over and over. Teacher, I think your mic is on. Sounds like a lovely mother. This is the one thing I did not sign up for as a teacher. I'd be doing office hours or one-on-one conference with students and their parents would be screaming at them to stop playing games and ducking around and come down to do X, Y, or Z. One father shoulder rushed into the student's room to scream about a dirty mug that was in the sink. Then started screaming questions about who they were talking to and was this a sex thing. Your kid is 20 and taking college classes and trapped at home because the dorm's shut. A student's mother had the habit of standing just off camera and very closely observing her kid. I know this because one time the student forgot to disable the mic. Everyone heard how the mother was coaching the student how to act. Don't look my way. Smile. Pay attention. It was next level helicoptering. Right on the edge of abuse in my opinion. Our school has a good counselor and the student is getting help. All the teachers have been advised to limit contact with the mother and not make waves, lest she withdraw the student or redouble her controlling behavior. I worry about it. And here's my cousin on Facebook angrily posting about how schools who advise parents not to hover are obviously trying to abuse or miseducate kids, and if your school sends a letter home asking all parents to give their students space for learning, then you should immediately withdraw your child from school. I hovered over my first grader for the first week because she has no idea how to use a computer. So I stayed right by her to help her. After that week I'll let her be. I'll go in there when she asks for help still. But I'm beyond proud and amazed of how well she's handling it all. It isn't too bad, but during the graduating ceremony for a class, all staff were asked to attend and turn on their mic to clap at certain points so it wouldn't be awkward. One such staff member forgot to turn their mic back off and was heard loudly jokingly insulting her husband and asking for another drink whilst complaining about how long and boring this was. This was broadcast to a whole class, their parents, and anyone else listening. We stuck together and didn't tell anyone who it was, but we all knew. Mute your mics. Edit. Change the rating to more what it actually was. Maybe I used the word wrong, but we're in the UK and that's how we show love. I heard what she was saying, guys. It wasn't abuse. Oh lord, that's bad. My son calls his tablet his fix because when I first got it and the battery would die, I'd tell him I was going to fix it. So imagine his pre-K teacher's surprise last spring when he asked me if he could have his fix now that he was done with school. LOL, I cracked up, held up the fix in question, and explained what he meant. I cracked up, held up the fix in question. Thank you, kind stranger, for the gold. The first time I fixed something that was broken around my house that Dis were fascinated, I think I installed a new tap. For the next couple of weeks we'd be out walking somewhere and see something broken. For example, the handrail on a set of stairs, and my daughter, who was only about 3, would look at me and say, "Daddy, fix." A student in my class forgot to turn off their mic, and we heard some background noises, doors closing, tapping, and because of a display bug, we couldn't see where the noise was from. Then the student started saying crap about the teacher. Oh, yeah, this is useless. He's just writing on a tablet. Even I could do that, etc. Everyone heard that. The teacher heard them just insult him. They didn't come back to the classes after that. We had a student in my class that was logged in on a smartphone, using an anonymous login, who never muted their mic once. They were outside, or near a window. Every time, when their mic picked up a sound, it would maximize their blank screen, minimizing the teacher's lesson, which was on a whiteboard. It happened a lot. The teacher didn't know who it was, and despite all of us begging them to mute, they never responded or did so, and the teacher wasn't able to mute or boot them. The worst part is, since they were connected anonymously, they never even got recorded as attending the lectures and failed for that reason alone. All of us suffered for this one donghead who failed anyway. English Zoom call. Teacher was holding us like 15+ minutes after the period had ended. She said something along the lines of "keep working arduously," and I responded with, "if she says arduously one more time, I'm going to flip a table." I was not on mute. During one of the lectures, our cat came into the room and jumped into my lap. I proceeded to tell him how very cute he is and how much I love him, in the stupidly sweetest voice possible because he's the best boy. Then, a full minute or two into me praising the cat, a message popped up from my classmate saying I'm unmuted. I had a mini spook and replied with a hahaha, I was just talking to him, plus a picture of the cat. It was extra awkward because I walk around with a resting beach face and barely talk to anyone when we're at uni. So my classmate later admitted that the only reason no one warned me sooner was because it didn't occur to them that the person with this sweet voice was me. Edit. Paying the cat tax. This is so cute. Or heard the clapping sound of a kid jerking off. His name lit up and everything. He was recognized for his actions. Who would actually think it's a good idea to do it during class XD? I'm a student, and my teacher was talking to his wife at first. Pretty normal, right? Well, she leaves and he gets on the phone and says, "Yeah honey, my wife just left. Wanna come over?" The entire class went batshit, bro. The plot thickens. Is that what you call it? Not really a mic story, but a friend of mine Facebook stalked a cute guy in their tute, before realizing she was still screen sharing. And this is why you always stalk people on a different device. Sounds like you've had experience in stalking. I had to defend my thesis over Zoom and many professors came into the call to watch. My thesis was about immune response in fish to parasites. One professor joined late and forgot to mute her mic and we got treated to this little gem. SHHHH. Mommy is learning about fish parasites. Which is what you'll get if you don't stop peeing in the koi pond. Edit. Thanks for the gold. That's my first. A boy accidentally forgot to turn his mic off and we heard how his mom literally verbally abused him. Then he looked at the camera and realized that the mic was on, then he turned the camera and mic off. The next day he looked like he cried all day and his mom was behind the camera. I still feel bad for that kid. Edit. To the random IO who gave me the silver award, I swear the situation will not be kept in secret. I will do as much as I can to help the situation. Cheers. Edit 2. Guys, guess what? My whole class were telling and spamming the principal to do something with the kid. In the end the principal itself with a counselor have a huge speak with the mother and threatened that if she doesn't change they will call the police. She was scared as heck and was decided to change. BC his dad did love him. The last day I saw him, the day I am editing this, was happy and like he was in the first day again. Thought I couldn't speak to him is clearly that at least something was changed and his father is in him side. To all of you who support the situation, thanks for giving advice in what to do. Was something done about it? Last week kid in my brother's class forgot his camera was on during the first class and was smoking a giant gas mask bong on his face during the syllabus review. As an adjunct, I would have asked him if he had enough for the rest of the class. Not a Zoom, but when I was a flight attendant, we used handheld mics to give briefings and make announcements. One female passenger got in my friend's face and screamed at her that if her bags were lost or if her golf bag was damaged she would make sure to hold her personally responsible. My friend was pretty shaken not only by the loudness and anger but by the woman's spittle and tried to hold it together to give her departure briefing. Welcome aboard FLTXXX. Service to Orlando, Uducking Beach. The entire plane lost it. My friend had forgotten to let go of the key on the side of the mic so all noise was picked up. Did she get in trouble? No. She was so distraught but no one wrote in about it. The president of the uni I attended, until 2007, was presenting something with a bunch of other important people. This was being recorded for later upload and right when the pandemic was starting. Around the 20th of March 20, his wife appears in the middle of the talk mad as hell telling him to go clean the toilet and that she's not her slave to clean his shit. A few very awkward seconds later he just says maybe we have to edit this out later. Now imagine how viral this must have been. I haven't had any ties to the uni since 2007 yet somehow the video got to my WhatsApp. Edit. And my top comment in 10 years is now about shit, surpassing my previous top comment where I asked about a porn star. Thanks Thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe for more interviews.